I missing anybody who is currently in the channel? For the moment, Godhand, you can just hang out here. We're not going to start firing for a little bit, so I'll have you BRFO when that time comes. Figure you get some practice in.
Okay, we're just using 6 lines for the first one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything too crazy. It's going to be pretty simple targets. Well, the fact that we really have no targets, but just blowing up the empty ground.
I told you we could have that.
Yeah, that should be our last guy coming up now. Is anybody still connecting to the server? Alright, so it looks like we got everybody. Alright, my name is the Pie Spy, and this is the basic M119 Howitzer course. What this course is designed to do is basically train you in being a cannoneer as part of an M119 section. So, skills you'll learn in this course is basic ammunition, loading the howitzer, aiming the howitzer, communicating with the FDC as far as fire commands goes, and learning about aiming points, how to switch aiming points, how to place aiming points. What you see to your behind you here is what we call an artillery battery. Now, a battery is kind of analogous to a company at the infantry level, so there are typically 3 to 4 batteries in a battalion, and then 3 battalions in an artillery regiment. Now, this, as you can see, we've got 6 guns here arrayed on the tarmac here, so that would be a full 6-gun battery. Typically, you'll see whenever it's referred to as a battery, it's talking about all 6 guns, or it may be split up into 3 2-gun platoons. Now, the mission of the firing battery is to destroy, neutralize, or suppress the enemy by cannon, rocket, or missile fires, and integrate artillery into, or integrate combined arms artillery into the combined arms atmosphere. So, as an artillery battery, your main mission is to support an infantry battalion. Artillery is known as the king of battle, partly due to its, in the 20th century, artillery was responsible for more casualties in war than pretty much any other weapon system, and also for the psychological effect that artillery has on the enemy. Just to give a little demonstration here.
Uh-oh.
Now, if you look to the southeast on the hill there,
boom.
that's it. But as you can see, I mean, one of the advantages artillery offers over other fire support assets, such as like air, like helicopter, fixed wing, or rotary wing, is the the constant fire it can deliver. Like, obviously, aircraft are limited by things like their ammunition, their fuel, and the fact that they're physically, on the battlefield, so they can be effectively countered by whatever they're attacking. Whereas artillery, I mean, once it's in the air, there's nothing you can really do to stop it, and the only thing really limiting them is their ammunition and their and the heat of the actual gun tube. All right, so let's go walk over to one of our howitzers here. This is the M119 Alpha 2 lightweight 105mm towed howitzer. It's based on the British L118 light gun. A couple differences with the American version. Primarily the ammunition. The original version of the light gun fired a separate loading ammunition, if I recall, while this fires a semi-fixed ammunition. Some of the parts of the gun. Obviously the gun tube, or we refer to the tube, we're talking about the gun barrel itself. Behind it you have what's called the trails. This is usually what the artillery is towed by and also absorbs the recoil of firing. And as you can see at the end of the trails we have the spade, and that actually digs into the ground and helps absorb the impact of the recoil. Over on the left side of the gun you have your sight. This howitzer utilizes the M137 Alpha 2 panoramic telescope, usually referred to as the Pantel. The gunner uses the Pantel to lay the howitzer for deflection, which is your left and right aiming of the howitzer. And also on the M119, since it's a relatively lightweight howitzer, the gunner also lays the howitzer for quadrant, or your elevation. Alright. Some of the terms as far as movement of the howitzer. The howitzer can traverse left or right 100 mils, so left 100 mils, right 100 mils, for a total of 200 mils of traverse. And when we talk about traverse, we're talking about moving the tube left or right without actually shifting the entire howitzer. So as we can see, we're traverse it to its left lateral limit. And then all the way to its right lateral limit. Next, we can elevate and depress the tube, elevation being going up and depressing going down. I don't have the exact figures as far as its limits of elevation, but I believe it's 1275 is its maximum elevation. So this howitzer can conduct high angle fire missions. And the nice thing about the M119, because it's so light, it's very easy to shift. That's part of the reason why it has such a limited range of traverse. Like the howitzer that I work on, the M777 Alpha 2, the 155mm towed howitzer, has 400 mils in either direction. So that allows us to traverse a wide range, because obviously shifting a 9,000 pound howitzer is much more arduous than shifting a howitzer like this. Alright, so let's talk about the sights. Now go ahead, split up into your gun sections. Start out with 3 per gun, and if we have extras we can go 4 per gun.
Get on the last gun, gentlemen.
Alright, can everybody
No, not all.
hear me over the short range?
Two on the last.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, have one person from each section hop in the gunner's seat.
You good, Buzz? I already know what you're looking
if you open up the M137, using your action menu, you open up the M137 on your action menu, you should see a couple buttons and a couple displays. The top scale is your azimuth scale. Now what the azimuth scale is it's where the sight is pointing in relation to the tube. So at 3200, the sight would be pointing straight down the tube or bore sighted to the tube. Right now you should see it at 2400 mils. That's basically the front left of the howitzer. Below that, you have your deflection counter. Now your deflection is what you use during fire missions. 3200 is what we call common deflection, and it's the number that the FDC uses to give you your deflection because it's the same no matter which howitzer it is. Below that, you have your elevation, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's what the tube, or what the site's current elevation is set at, and below that you have your level. Now, what this level is trying to simulate is basically imagine your leveling bubble in a your bubble in a carpenter's level. When you set the elevation on your sights, it's going to basically set the sight's elevation, but it will not change the tube's elevation. Now, what you need to do is using your up and down arrows, you're going to elevate and depress the tube until that little circle is centered between the two lines in the middle of that level file. Go ahead, once you get a basic feel for what all is on the site right now, just rotate people through the gunner seat.
There you go. Shift and control adjust the speed at which it'll change it.
Right.
Use your scroll wheel and hit that view option.
Yes, I see.
I'll knock the back off for you.
You can press 0 to bring, look to the little tilde.
So if you wanted to go faster, do it in shift. If you want to go double, if you want to increase by tens, you do it by shift. If you want to increase it by fucking hundreds, I think it's control and shift.
I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing.
Okay, when you're looking at it, there's a thing that says level.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? There's a dotted line and there's a wee circle on it.
Yep.
And you should see there are two long lines in that.
Yep.
What that is basically the bubble meter. When your gun is barreled, the elevation is the same as what the elevation reading is. That circle will be between the two lines.
Alright.
What you need to do is use your up and down arrow keys to get that bubble into the center of that so the gun's on the correct elevation.
Alright.
What is the problem?
Well, lots of things.
So right now we're
If you want to go faster, use shift. And it'll,
only have... The only thing you're looking at is that the bubble indicator thing and the elevation.
Ah,
you know,
okay.
once you get it close, then go down to just using the regular arrow keys.
And you move the gun up or downwards.
Alright. I get it now.
Once you're done, just knock it off and let the other guy have a wee go.
Okay, I see that.
There you go.
Thanks.
Alright, you guys getting it? Or?
Is to actually elevate the sight so that you can, in case the sun is looking down onto the ground, you can elevate it so you can see your aiming point.
Okay. I can't get in.
Go to dragon.
Alright, below your elevation,
Okay.
you have a couple buttons. You have DEF plus and minus, you have EL plus and minus, you have OP plus and minus, and you have RE plus and minus. The main two buttons you're concerned with is the top set of deflection plus and minus and elevation plus or minus. Now when you receive a fire mission, the FTC is going to give you a deflection. Let's just say it's 3215 for example. So the first thing you want to do is using your deflection plus button, you're going to enter deflection 32. You're going to hit the deflection plus button until your deflection counter reaches 3215. Now a little trick you can use is if you hold down shift and press the plus or minus button, it's going to increase it by 10 mil increments. If you hold control and shift and press it, it's going to increase it by 100 mil increments. Now once you enter that deflection, you can hit change view and you can actually look through the sights of your howitzer. Now what you should see is what's called your collimator. The collimator is your primary aiming point when conducting indirect fire missions. Basically what an aiming point is it's some point of reference that the gunner on the howitzer uses since he can't actually see the target he's shooting at, being that it's an indirect fire weapon. It's an aiming point, then he makes the necessary adjustments that the FDC gives him. So if you look at your sights now, if you have the deflection 3215 entered in your sights, you should see that your sights are now set 15 mils to the left of your collimator. So we've got the correct deflection in our sights, but now we need to actually physically move the tube onto the correct deflection of the mission. Utilizing your left and right arrow keys on your keyboard, you can traverse the tube right, and you're going to traverse your tube right until the vertical crosshair, the center vertical crosshair on your sights where the 0 would be, is aligned to the 0 on your collimator. Don't worry about how the sights are looking at the collimator vertically, you're only concerned horizontally. So just go ahead and play around with entering different deflections on your sights and traversing back onto your collimator.
Damn it.
You got that done, Bertrand, or?
Yeah, how do I get out?
When you're in the sight mode, just press escape.
Yeah,
Or, V, whatever your sight button is. Escape to exit the dialogue, and then, whatever you use to get out of the sight.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool.
You first.
Fair enough.
Yeah, one of y'all have box. Kinda confusing, but once you look at it.
Alright, next to your deflection plus or minus buttons, you should see your EL or elevation plus or minus. Just like the deflection button, when you add or subtract and change the elevation of your sights, it doesn't actually physically change the elevation of the tube. So what you need to do is set the elevation you want. Let's just say quadrant 350, for example. And then you're going to need to elevate your tube until that circle on that vial I was talking about is recentered between the two vertical lines. Mind you, this is on the sight dialog, not your actually physically looking through the sights at the collimator. You don't need to worry about how the actual sights of the howitzer are aligned on the collimator vertically.
I don't get it. Alright, so plus and minus elevation buttons, right? You got this.
Yes.
So change the elevation what you want.
Alright.
This is what, yeah, I think that's what they're going to tell you. Like,
Bertrand, do you remember what the azimuth was when you first got this?
sorry, I have no idea. I'm fairly clueless at the moment.
Same.
Right, okay.
I have absolutely no experience with this.
Yeah, I should have tried first.
Yeah.
I don't get those, the level. How do I put it in the middle again?
The up and down arrows. The up and down. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, the SWAT. I think it's the OP buttons, OP minus and OP up. That actually like changes.
Does it say I'll get the tube reset?
Yeah, but that's just for the... Oh yes, wait.
Slight problem.
And if you hold down shift and you click button, it's gonna go by 10. So it's gonna be quicker.
No, it's because I pressed escape and it got, what does that mean?
Well, just moves the sight around, but it doesn't level the thing out.
Oh, so like you're trying to get the bubble into
Yes.
work? Oh yeah, so those would be up and down arrows.
If you guys have any questions, just get a hold of either myself, New, or Zoomwork, and we should be able to help you out.
Oh, that's fine. It will do that. It's just selecting different ones. But it's fine.
Don't know what you've done, but you managed to screw up the sight unit.
Size
Damn it. I clicked in the menu on the deflection and the elevation. I moved it to the right, I think.
Give me a tick, Hal.
Nice. That's all we want. That way you don't kill us on the hill mission.
Well, that's... I'm not sure.
You didn't press the OP button, did you?
Okay, if I get...
Guys, this is Godhand with a quick warning. We know that you like teaching and you like paying attention, but please don't do anything you haven't been told to do, like picking up the collimator and moving that, because you can end up just fucking yourself over. So don't touch anything unless told to.
It's possible I did something. I just clicked the buttons, I don't know.
You always have to re-level with the bubble after that.
Alright, pretty much.
Yeah,
We're gonna see any questions.
Okay.
I just do have to pop on.
I wonder when there's going to be a misfire.
There won't be until someone loads around.
Just go over here ready for fucking direct fire and shit.
So what does level then the option?
Exit strike line on the side.
What are in these boxes anyways?
That's where you get the rounds from.
Alright, Iceman, go ahead, send the function of 3215 and...
I said, did someone move the fucking...
450.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, kill friendly.
What's that? I'm just giving off random numbers right now. I mean, just give a number and take a look at the sites.
Yeah, how about we say 421?
See that red house over there?
Yeah,
Oh, if we're going to pick it down. How we see it.
I think it might be too
That, yeah, the roof is like
Yeah, I
pouring
mean-
fail.
Too low, look at that.
Okay, I'm gonna get someone over to fix this quickly. Don't touch the column here.
No, I'm not touching anything anymore.
cluster bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
You might have taken a look at this column here, like properly.
I think we're good.
I think there's something funny about.
I don't even know what a fucking collimator is.
Site.
Is that thing on the ground right there?
Yeah.
Sort of retarded.
Yeah.
I think the gun was with the sight.
It's a weird one, yeah.
Oh. Oh, so it's like the...
Sure they made it for a
Order.
reason.
It needs to be level. You put in the elevation 421, you said. So you put that in with what's
Okay, looking completely wrong direction.
and then you use the up and down arrows until your bubble aligns in the center of the elevation. Should be a bubble popping out.
Yeah, because I saw some YouTube tutorials on how to use this, but I want to make sure nobody doesn't say anything.
So what's the traverse then? Nothing special?
It's left and right for deflection.
Do you know if he...
Are you talking about that, like, the
Okay, we should be good.
thing with the...
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably just fucked
So,
with the reset
like,
button.
there's this thing that pops up. It shows you how far left you traverse out of the range. So if it goes all the way to the left, then you know that you're at the traverse limit.
Oh, okay. I see.
So shift down arrow. It's
Okay, should be good now.
you just moved it.
Alright.
Alright, so... Here, when you hop on the sites, other than Toadball, because he obviously knows what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Let version of it. Is, I think.
Alright, yeah, hey, Toad, just make these guys.
Next right.
So just have them set it and take a look at the sites to make sure they understand.
Well, yeah, sure.
Alright, appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Okay, while you're looking at
Just
it,
getting it over
you
here.
can see the, if you go to the site view,
Sort of.
Also, we were wondering...
You see-
I'm looking at the collimeter now.
yeah, You've got the central line looking at the 0, yeah?
Yes.
And your, I presume your deflection at the moment is
It might
3200.
Move that level, Bubba.
Does it say in deflection 3200?
What is the level gun button?
Yes. Yes, it does. Deflection 3200. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. What we're gonna do is to get your when you I presume we're gonna get it to change your deflection to 3215. What that'll do, it'll turn the sight off the collimator. What we'll do from there is then you'll have to turn the gun to get the sight back onto the collimator. So what you do is you press the deflection plus button until it gets to 3215.
Oh, okay, I get it.
3215.
Yep.
Done.
Okay. What you'll do then is you'll then turn the tube using your left and right arrow keys until that central line is back on the 0 of the collimator.
Yes, and it should be sitting right on the 0 of that collimator.
450.
If you say change view, and you should look through the sights.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so go ahead, change your deflection to.
Okay.
You got it lined up?
Yeah.
Just let me have a wee check.
See how you're offset to the left now.
Okay, yeah.
Alright, see. So now your sights are at the correct deflection, but now your tube, you need to actually traverse your tube onto that deflection.
Have you, or what we'll do then, we'll do a elevation of 0 300.
Vertical crosser on your sight.
So you have to use your elevation plus and minus. Set your elevation to 0 300.
0300. Okay.
And then once you've done that, get the tube laid on the level.
Open mic.
I think it's just his hot his speaking talk, press the button on his mouse.
Okay. The reason it's to the front left of the gun is because that's the area where there's most likely to be an obstruction.
300.
Rotating your panel all the way to the right.
Yeah, once you've got that set, give me a shout and pop off and I'll have a look just to double check.
Actually blocking out the sight.
300 now.
Yeah. So it should read 0 3 0 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly. That's basically where I'm like the gun would see.
Yeah.
Okay, escape. Get out.
Okay, let's quickly double check.
Alright, has everybody over here gotten a chance to get on the sights and play around with it a little bit?
Just got one more to go through.
Yeah, I think I got
Deflection's
it.
right. And your elevation, you need to get the gun barrel lined up. So that's just your up and down arrow keys to get that. You want to get the level, which is the circle inside the two central lines.
Set everything and then level it.
So if you want to just get that done, I'll give
Yeah, I think I have a problem with my keybinds.
right,
Because I have to press spacebar and the arrow keys, they only move between the menu and I only click up or down when I hit the spacebar. But yeah.
When you're in the menu and you use the arrow keys, basically you're still changing the traverse of the gun or changing the elevation of the gun, so they should flash whenever you do something.
Yes, but they also change from elevation plus or minus or to the other menus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they don't change the numbers, do they?
So long as they don't change the values, it's fine.
Ah, okay.
It's supposed to flash as you do something to show you that it's actually moving.
Ah, okay.
So that the fact that the button is flashed doesn't change anything.
And you need to use your
So what you want to do is just get that gun, the elevation set in, and I'll get Seraph.
Yeah.
Elevation. So, what elevation did you want me? 0300, that's...
You've already got the elevation entered, so what you want to do is just get the barrel leveled. You just want to get that circle inside the two central lines on the level.
So I just have to move it up a little bit, that's what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically just press shift and arrow keys and the gun moves.
To do the major
Just press
adjustments.
the arrow keys, it will go way too slow.
Yeah, shift for the major changes and then up and down for the big ones. And it's conveniently annoying that down is up and up is down.
Yeah.
Because inverted controls keys are cool.
The other day.
So I think this should be okay now.
Oh, that's cool. Reflections, right? And the level... No. Okay, I'm not sure if that's a key binding problem there, as you said.
Yeah, I have to use all different kinds of buttons than shift and the arrow keys, it seems, to make it move. Or I'm not understanding it.
So it forces you to compensate for the number of mills.
That's leading. I'll get Sarah for the office.
It's fun how much different the triggering mechanisms is on this gun than in the 109.
Yeah. Okay, I'll give you deflection of 3195.
3195.
Yeah, so the first thing you do is use deflection plus and minus to get your deflection value setting.
Wait, 3195. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 3195 set.
Alright. Okay, what you'll do then is if you change view, you'll notice it's now no longer on the collimator. What you'll do is then use your left and right arrow keys to get the central line back on 0.
Hey instructors, once you're confident that your guys understand the basic operations of the site, go ahead, come over
your
here by
your elevation, sorry,
bunker
0400.
by the ammo. We'll go for ammo real quick.
The blade.
0400, okay.
Yep.
Let's run over and go over the ammo with these guys. Looks like there's an ammo right. Alright, let's go.
Alrighty then.
Okay, if you want to hop off, I'll just double check it.
Wait a minute, I just got the elevation set. It's
Oh, right, you... Ah, right, okay, there we go then. Just get the thing leveled and then... You've already done the level, so...
Wait a minute, how do you... Oh, there we go. There we go.
Quite fast.
That should do it.
Okay, that's deflection lead. And yeah, there are elevations done. Okay, what was it you were having a problem with, Bertrand? Was it just
yeah, I have to click spacebar, but spacebar is also I use it to speak.
right. Why do you need to press spacebar?
Because I've set that as my push to talk button, but obviously I can change it.
Oh, you shouldn't need to press spacebar at all.
Are you guys confident on your gun?
I'm happy with it. I just Bertrand's having problem getting with controls apparently.
Yeah. But you don't have to hold up class for me, so.
Yeah. If you wanna, I'll get Patch by over. He's or new if you can go over it with him. I'm terrible at explaining controls.
So what's the deal here?
Well, I have to use other buttons apparently than the ones you guys use. If I use my arrows, it always goes. I have to press spacebar to actually move the sight.
What kind of keyboard do you have?
Say that again.
Like what language is your keyboard?
European, I guess. It's a Microsoft one. I don't really know.
I use a British keyboard.
I'm in Belgium.
Okay,
right, you don't use that.
Well, it's probably, if I get some practice with it, I'll probably be fine, but it'll it'll take a little bit longer probably than usual.
So your arrow keys don't move the gun.
Not that I can see, no.
Here, hop in the gun. Hold the shift key and hold the down arrow.
I'm gonna join the other guys.
Okay.
Good.
Shift and down.
Yeah. Are you holding the shift key and the down arrow?
Yes. And I see in the menu yes, yes, I see it. And in the menu I see the deflection, elevation. Yeah, it's all flashing.
Okay. Ignore the flashing buttons, but if you were holding the shift key and the down arrow, your gun's elevated now, so that's good.
But I'm still looking at the collimator. That's right then.
That
That's
doesn't
correct.
matter when you're doing your elevation.
Yeah, you're
Oh.
always going to see the collimator.
Okay, and
When you're doing elevation, you want to look at the little, like, kind of Oshchi bubble level that you see there. And you'll see, like, the little bubble, the O, is, like, off to one side.
yes.
Okay, that means that your bubble level on your sight unit isn't adjusted correctly. But anyways, your keys are working fine. Don't worry about it.
So if I do it the other way, the bubble should go to the other side.
Yeah, I think it's set at 300 now, so...
Elevation 400.
Yeah, and once you pass 400, it will, like, fly past the middle and will go down to the other.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. So yeah, your keys are working fine. Don't worry.
So
I think you were just confused on what you were supposed to be seeing.
and when I click spacebar, I can see the sight moving. Actually, it goes higher than the collimator at the moment. It when I click on the spacebar, the sight shifts a little bit, so I'm looking above the collimator at the moment.
That's because when you hit the spacebar, it's activating the selected thing in the menu.
Okay, then I have to rebind my push to talk key. Okay.
Yeah, don't use space for push to talk. That's bad idea.
It was a big button. It was easy to reach, but yeah, I'll switch it.
But yeah, your keys are working fine. Other than that, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But yeah, you might want to come over here and listen to the rest of the lecture on ammunition.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm such an idiot.
At the top, that gold part you can see is the fuse. Currently, save for, I believe, the illumination round and the expelling smoke, all these are M119 MOFAs, or multi-option fuse artillery. Now the great things about these fuses is they can be set to pretty much anything you want them to do. They can be set to PD, point detonating, also known as quick or super quick. So if you hear, shell HE fuse quick, they're talking about a PD fuse. Next you have VT, which is kind of a misnomer. It stands for variable time, but what it actually is a proximity fuse. So there's a tiny radar-like mechanism in there that will detect when the round is a certain altitude above the ground, and the round will airburst. So you'll either hear VT or proximity when calling for that fuse. Next there is time, which is pretty much just what it sounds. It's mainly used for expelling rounds or rounds that contain some type of cargo, either an illuminating flare, DPICM, stuff like that. Pretty simple. You get a time from the FTC, you set the time on the fuse, you shoot the round. And lastly there is delay, which is pretty much what it sounds like. It impacts the ground and there's a short delay, usually 0.05 seconds, and then the round detonates. So that makes it ideal for engaging infantry in buildings, fortifications, and particularly in Arma if you're engaging infantry in forest like heavy wooded cover, because the rounds tend to detonate in the trees if you set them to PD. So if you set them to delay, that will allow the round to penetrate that top layer of the forest and actually impact closer to the ground. Now let's talk about the actual projectile. That is the big boom in the round that actually does what you intend for the round to do. Depends, Zoom. I think the mount fuse has a longer delay. There's actually a special fuse designed to penetrate concrete bunkers. But at the left here, or my left, your right, you can see those are bread and butter round, the M1 high explosive round. Pretty simple. It hits the ground or explodes above the ground. Shrapnel flies everywhere. It's pretty much good against everything. In the airburst mode, it's good against infantry in the open. At impact, it can destroy vehicles, light fortifications on delay. As stated before, you can destroy deeper fortifications. Next to it, we have our WP, or white phosphorus smoke round. This particular round, if I remember, yes, this is the bursting WP round, so this is set typically with a PD fuse. It'll hit the ground and explode in a big cloud of WP that is either good for marking targets, obscuring. It has light incendiary effects, although I don't know really how effective those are in Arma. Probably New could tell you more about that.
They're not.
Yeah, so, I mean, don't expect them to, you know, set everything on fire, and contrary to popular belief, white phosphorus is not like a toxic gas. I mean, just like any kind of smoke, if you inhale a lot of it, yes, it has harmful effects, but it's not like a fucking chemical round.
Everything kills in large enough amounts.
Yeah, so it's primarily designed for either marking a target for air, or other fire support assets, or obscuring. Alright, next we have our illumination round, and that's pretty much what it sounds like. It is an expelling round, so there is a illumination flare contained inside this round. The base of the round blows off in midair once the time fuse runs out, and it expels a parachute flare that lights up approximately a grid square of the battlefield. And it's, if you've ever seen it in Arma or in real life, it is bright as shit, and no shit will illuminate like an entire square kilometer. Also, you can set it to PD or just a very low height of burst, and you can use it to mark targets for air, because the illumination flare is extremely bright. You can see it in broad daylight even. Alright, and our final round is the DPICM, or dual purpose improved conventional munition. This is a pretty nasty round that was designed to kind of complement the HE round. It's an expelling round, so it does not detonate when it hits the ground. The base of it blows off in midair when the time fuse runs out, and it expels several shaped charge grenades over the battlefield, which will fuck up infantry, light vehicles, and it has a substantial increase in its effective area over normal HE, even when it's set to proximity airburst, and also has the bonus of being more effective against vehicles. I'm not sure about the 105, but I know the 155 in Arma. Contrary to popular belief, it will take out vehicles like BMPs if it scores a direct hit, so...
Yeah, you rain enough of the grenades down on tanks, and you can knock out MBTs even.
Alright. Now, let's talk about how we actually get these rounds out of the boxes, so if I want to just split up among these ammo crates. If you use your ACE interaction key, not the self-interact, but your actual interact key on the box, you should get a little dialogue that says either prep arty rounds or carry in pairs. You want to hit prep arty rounds, and next that will bring up your artillery ammunition preparation dialogue. You'll see at the top you have charge, which whatever the FDC calls for. You can either go charge up, charge down, so obviously you don't want to prep your rounds before the FDC actually sends down the mission, so you can properly set the charge. Once you've done that, you can select your fuse from the top-down menu. As stated before, we have point detonating, PD, or also known as quick or super quick. You have proximity, also known as VT. You have time, which is always just comes across as time, and then you have delay.
Mine only has charge and fuse.
Yeah, if you look at, he's talking about the HE rounds. The other round types
Yes,
do not
now
have
you'll
all
notice for DPICM, as I said, it's an expelling round, so its sole function is to have the base explode in midair, so obviously it only carries a time fuse. And then, as you can see, when you select time, you have a box to enter your time that the FDC gives you.
You said proximity is airburst, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
10 meters below the ground, roughly.
And that would be more suited to dispatching infantry than, say, Arma?
Yeah, the good thing about airburst is if you think about ground burst, if people are behind cover and the ground bursts on the ground, then the fragmentation is going to go into the ground and into the cover that they're behind. If you burst it above their heads, then you're going to have line of sight to where that burst is, even if they're down in trenches, and you'll get fragmentation and blast effects that go into trenches.
And now you'll note if we already have our rounds we've already taken out of the boxes, we can also prep these. So say there's a change to the time, you don't have to prep new rounds from the box. If you just simply change the time, you can use your interact menu on the round, and you can change any of the charges or times as needed. And also you'll notice whenever you interact on a round, it'll display the round's current settings in the top right corner of your screen.
Is there a difference between time and delay?
Yes. Time is just what it sounds like. There's a certain time where once the time runs out, the fuse will activate, so this is typically used for Illum and DPICM, since they're designed to burst in the air. Well, not really burst, but expel in the air. While delay is strictly the round hits the ground or hits whatever, the fuse activates, and there's usually a 0.5 or 0.05 second delay before the round will actually explode.
Yeah, delay is meant to like either dig into the ground or burst through light fortification, or like Pi said earlier, if you're shooting into trees, instead of getting the round like bursting in the tree branches, it will say hit a tree branch, and then it will continue on for a few more meters and get under the canopy and explode.
And also when engaging structures, delay is the ideal fuse because it'll penetrate the structure and explode inside.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you're ever on the 109s and you're using Excals, the Excalibur rounds, and you're trying to engage a building, those are ideal for using with delay because it'll literally go right through the roof of the building and pretty much kill whatever's inside.
Does the elimination round have carrier shells in armor?
Does that what?
If the elimination rounds have come with carrier shells, they drop a carrier shell when they deploy in air?
I don't think so.
Roger.
Oh, wait, you mean like a parachute, or do you mean does the actual like physical like round continue on?
Yeah, exactly. The round continue on off after dropping the illumination parachute.
No, yeah, I don't think it just despawns and.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about where the rest of the round is going to land.
That'd be pretty entertaining if you could kill somebody with a fucking case.
It's happened before, at least real life.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, are you an FO, Globy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just here to learn about the other side of things.
Yeah, always good. Alright. So, now when we actually go to, let's talk about the ammo team. So you get a fire mission, you set all things on your round. Now you actually have to go up and load the round. It's pretty simple. Use your ace interact, hit carry. As you can see, I'm now magically levitating the round in front of myself.
Just like in Half-Life 2.
Yeah. We go over to our gun.
Used to be
Stand behind it, and use your interact menu once again, and you should have a load gun option. Pretty simple, hit load gun. And we are ready to fire.
Check your plugs.
And likewise, if say, the mission gets canceled, etc., and you unload the gun, just ace interact on the gun, unload, and boom, the round magically appears in front of our gun.
Why is it so far away?
Yeah, new.
I don't
To
know.
avoid collision detection things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another warning, I guess, is you can, with two people, you can carry these crates, but it's kind of haphazard. I've had a lot of people get injured in Ace. So if you can help it at all, just run the rounds from the crates to the gun. Don't try to move the crates right next to the gun.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
And I don't know if I mentioned, but when you're carrying the round, to drop the round, you don't use your ace interact, you just use your action menu. There should be big bright red text at the bottom of your action menu that says end carry. Then you just drop the round on the gun. Okay.
And how do you shoot? You get back into gunner and press mouse?
Yes.
Yep.
It's just left click as a gunner. So obviously make sure you don't accidentally left click while you're trying to make sure you don't left click outside of your dialogue when you're, setting the deflection bar on your gun. In fact, at least by our SOPs in real life, we do not load the gun until we receive quadrant from the FTC, and that's a pretty good SOP to carry over into ARMA, so you don't accidentally, you know, shoot off a round when you're late on the wrong data.
Yeah, you don't want to send rounds down towards, you know, where you just blew up and friendlies are now occupying.
Yeah.
That's gonna end in bad times.
One of the things that in real life artillery, I mean, there's such a, especially like when comparison to say the infantry side, when they utilize mortars compared to us, there's much more verification that goes on in us, because with the infantry mortars, I mean, their 81s, their max range is about 5 kilometers, whereas with, I mean, we can shoot rounds with a 155 up to, you know, 30, 40 kilometers out with Excal, so, you know, a couple mils at 30 kilometers is a huge difference.
Tell me about the Excalibur round, if you could.
I've never fired it. I've received some train on it, but basically it's just a GPS guided 155 millimeter round. It fires up high angle. It's always fired at high angle, and basically it deploys its fins on leaving the tube. It reaches like the apex of its flight, and then it drops down a little bit, and then basically glides to its target. Once it's almost over its target, it just comes straight down.
So it's kind of like a Hellfire, almost?
No, it's not laser guided, it's GPS guided.
But yeah.
Imagine a JDAM, the aircraft drop, except fired from a artillery tube.
Oh, okay.
No, it's like I said, the advantage that artillery provides is, you know, we don't have any limitations on things like fuel or really, you know, the same ammunition limitations that aircraft have, and we can fire, you know, in any weather condition. So that's...
It's got these little fins that unfurl out the back after it's fired, right? And then they kind of they have servos that actuate the fins to kind of guide it.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
That's what most of the artillery that is currently like in Afghanistan and stuff, they're really not shooting, you know, traditional like 5-round HE missions and stuff. It's mainly Excalibur, obviously because of the collateral damage we have to be, you know,
just a note with the Excaliburs, they have a minimum charge.
Yes.
There's actually on 155 there's a lot of rounds will have minimum charge, especially on the old bag system.
Yeah.
Otherwise they can stick in the tube.
And shit, yeah.
And that's bad, especially if the time fuse. Well, time fuses don't usually activate because they have like 100-meter arming distance, but you don't want to be guessing that with a sticker.
Okay, so we know how to lay the howitzer for quadrant deflection. We know how to prepare and load ammunition. So the next step is actually receiving fire commands from the FTC and being able to communicate with the FTC. So there are 11 fire commands that are given from the FTC to the gun line with any fire mission. If you have a pen and paper on you, I suggest you break it out just to write it down so you can remember. Alright, the first thing you're always going to receive whenever the FTC receives a fire mission, they're ready to send it down, is the warning order, which is simply fire mission. So, you hear fire mission over the hooks, the whole section repeats, fire mission, that alerts everybody that, hey, there's a mission going on. You know, if it's fucking 3 in the morning and you're half asleep, everybody, you know, wakes the fuck up, gets on the gun. Also, you may receive some slightly different warning orders. For example, I'll get into it later, but you might receive fire mission immediate suppression or fire mission immediate smoke. These are basically shortcuts that the FTC and Gunline uses to cut out a lot of the data they have to send, because as I'm sure Globey could explain to you, sometimes the FO doesn't have time to, you know, prep this really long call for fire, and they, you know, are, you know, in contact and need fire right now, so they may just simply send down, you know, fire for immediate suppression and then a grid. So that is basically designed to cut down as much time between from when the FO calls for fire and from when we're actually sending rounds down range.
Yeah,
also,
correct.
And if you hear that as a gun line, you know that it's like real fucking shit.
It's like hurry the fuck up, because you probably got troops in contact. Okay, so you receive your warning order fire mission. Next is going to be pieces to follow, pieces to fire, and method of fire. Now, pieces to follow, this is when we're doing a adjust mission, so you'll receive something like battery adjust, gun number 3, 1 round. So to break that down, what that means is the entire battery is adjusting, as in they are laying on the same data, but they are not firing. The only gun that is firing is number 3. So if an FO calls for, you know, adjust fire, he's just going to have 1 round start dropping from the battery until he's on target. Alright, so that's pieces to follow. So who is following? Pieces to fire, pretty self-explanatory. Who's actually firing? In the case of an adjust mission, it's just going to be 1 gun, or you may just get battery 3 rounds, which means the entire battery is firing 3 rounds. Next is method of fire, which is how many rounds. So, like I was saying earlier, you know, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, etc. And keep in mind, this is each gun, not the entire battery. So, if you got battery 4 rounds, the entire battery is going to fire 4 rounds for a total of 24 rounds is going to come out of the entire battery.
And so when he says, after he says battery 4 rounds, and then you basically just spit the rounds out as fast as you can, or is there an interval?
A whole rest of the fire command, because you still haven't received deflection, quadrant, charge, all that good stuff. But now you know how many rounds you're actually going to be firing, so the ammo
well, I know, but I was asking more after you're told to fire. Is there an interval, or like a sort of a rate of fire, if you will?
There's a part in the fire command that will dictate
which
that
is
if
the
it's
next
present.
part, which is special instructions.
Okay.
So special instructions is basically how the FDC is going to control the gun line, as in how they're going to fire. So if you receive no special instructions, which you can, I mean, they may not just say, they either may say special instructions when ready, or they may just not give a special instruction at all. If you don't receive a special instruction, that means it's when ready. It's on you as the section to get those rounds out as soon as you're ready. Your most common special instruction you're going to receive are at my command, which is the FDC is going to control the first round you fire, and once they give the command to fire, you are clear to fire the rest of the rounds in that mission. So if you receive, you know, battery 4 rounds, special instructions at my command, you're going to wait to fire that first round until the FDC says stand by fire. Once they say stand by fire, the rest of the rounds are on you. Get them out as fast as you can. This is often confused with by round at my command, when the FDC is going to control each round you fire. So if they call for 4 rounds, they're going to say stand by fire on each round. Likewise, after you fire that round, you're going to communicate back to the FDC when you're ready. So, you know, your ammo team's doing their thing. Once the gun's loaded, the gun is laid, you're going to call back ready. Whenever you talk to the FDC, you always use the format action and then peace. So whatever gun you are is going to come after whatever action you just did. So say you just loaded the gun, you're going to say ready to if you're gun number 2. And then the FDC is going to repeat back peace action, so they're going to say to ready. This helps, you know, differentiate. Obviously, if it's because it could get confusing. You know, if the FDC called back ready to, that'd be confusing at the gun line, because you'd be like, hey, we didn't call back ready. Other special instructions, do not load, which is basically just like I was talking about with the adjust missions. You're going to lay on the target data, but you are not going to load. So this is, you know, useful for, say, an FO, you know, hasn't actually called for any rounds, but he just requests you lay on a target and be ready to fire if needed. Let's see what else we got.
And there's a reason you don't load, and it may or may not be pertinent in the future, in that if you have a hot barrel, you don't want rounds sitting in a hot barrel if they're not going to be fired immediately. That's one of the main things.
Cook off singer too, but obviously it doesn't really apply in Arma, but
they might.
Yeah.
But at least if you're not ending up firing anyway, they're pretty slow to unload again. So
yeah, correct. Yeah. And the 119 and the 118, I believe you can actually unload the rounds pretty easily because they don't engage the rifling. But on the bigger guns like 155s, when you ram that round in, it's engaging the rifling, so it's not going anywhere real soon unless you actually push that thing out, and that takes a while.
Drop the tube down.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
You know, and go in front of the gun, which if you're going in front of the gun line, that means the entire battery can now not shoot because you're in front of the gun line. So you put the entire battery out of action, and you have to physically, with like, you know, 4 or 5 guys, put a, what we call the bell rammer down the tube and actually ram the round out. So that's why I've had it happen before. It was pretty embarrassing. It was a do not load mission. Our recorder was shitty. He didn't catch it, and the chief went ahead and loaded the round. So, you know, the battery gunny came down and shoot our asses because we're sitting here, you know, looking like retards with a fucking round in the tube. on a do not load mission.
Bummer.
Yeah. Alright, so all the special instructions are pretty self-explanatory. You have other ones like by piece MI command, which is each howitzer is going to fire when the FTC calls their number, so they'll be like gun number 1, stand by, fire, gun number 2, stand by, fire. Likewise, you might also have by piece fire on MI command, which is same thing, except they're going to control each round you fire, as well as the piece that is firing. So, you know, gun number 1, stand by, fire, gun number 1 is going to fire 1 round, even if it may be a 4-round mission. Alright. Next, you have your projectile. So, pretty self-explanatory. They're going to tell you which round to shoot. So they're going to say shell HE, shell WP, shell Illum. And that's telling you what projectile. So then the ammo team can, hey, go to that, you know, whatever ammo box it is and get ready to start prepping it. After that, you're going to receive charge. A charge is very important because, like I said, it controls the trajectory of the round. If you fuck up on your charge, you're going to end up what we call shooting out, which means, you know, the round's going to fall short or go far, and that's how people get killed in real life. So charge is very important. So pretty simple, they're going to call out, you know, charge 5, and that lets the ammo team know what charge they need to prep. Next comes fuse, which is the final part of a round. I can tell you which fuse, so fuse PD, fuse quick, which is both point detonating, fuse time, fuse proximity or fuse VT, or fuse delay. The next, if it applies, if you have a time fuse, they're going to give you the fuse time, so they might say fuse time 30.2. That's one little thing caveat off of. In artillery, we always say each digit of the number, unless it's like 2 zeros. So like when I'm talking about 3200, the deflection 3200, you can say that, but like say the deflection is, you know, 3214, you never say, you know, 3201 and 14 or something like that. You always say each digit as clearly as possible, because as I said earlier, you know, in artillery when you're shooting things 30 kilometers away, these numbers mean a lot and they can get very confusing because it's a lot of information coming down in a pretty short amount of time. After your time, you are going to receive your deflection. So deflection 3214, for example, the gunner can start entering his deflection, traversing the where he needs to, and finally you're going to receive quadrant. Quadrant in artillery basically means elevation. I know it can get kind of confusing because in mortars they use elevation, but we use quadrant. So quadrant, you know, 402, you can start elevating the tube, and once you receive quadrant, you can go ahead and load that round. Not fire it, but load it unless it's, you know, win ready. If it's a win ready mission, once you receive quadrant, hey, you're clear to fire that mission. There's a last fire command, it's called method of fire for effect, which basically the FTC during an adjust mission, you know, they might just call for 1 round HE. The reason method of fire for effect exists is it lets the gun line know, hey, once we enter the fire for effect phase, or basically the phase in which the entire battery is going to be firing, they'll tell you how many rounds and what type to fire, but I've never heard it used, honestly.
Yeah, it'd be like where you're adjusting with HE, but you're going to fire TPICM in effect. Something like that.
Yeah. You probably won't use it in Arma, so don't worry too much about it.
Question?
Yes.
Do you have a sheet which the FTC uses, which the gun also can use to type down?
Yes. Well, let me just make you a link real quick. It's called the DA Form 4513. It's kind of hard to show you guys, I mean, how to properly fill it out, but it has a box for each of the fire commands that, you know, honestly, when I'm doing it in Arma, I just write down on a sheet of paper. But if you guys want to use it, I'll post a link in the channel real quick.
Great.
Right.
It's got a lot more fields than you will ever use in Arma, though, believe me.
Yeah, okay, but I can modify it and make my own.
Yeah, yep.
Alright, Zoom posted one that's filled out. There's a blank one too. After the class, if you guys are interested, I can show you, you know, how we fill that out, you know, if you're so interested, but honestly in Arma, it, you know, doesn't really matter a whole lot.
But when you say that method of fire for effect is rarely used, how do you? Is it that they just send an additional fire command for the
Indeed,
fire for
yeah.
effect
They'll
phase,
just,
or?
yeah. So like, I'll give you guys an actual like complete fire command. So a complete fire command will go something like this: FTC come down, fire mission. The gun line repeats, fire mission. Battery adjust number 3, 1 round. Battery adjust number 3, 1 round. Shell HE. Charge 3. Fuse quick. Deflection 3210. Quadrant 430. Now, whenever we're calling down to the gun line, we always have what's called a readback. Typically, it's the recorder on gun number 3, being that he's the centerpiece of the battery, what we call the base piece. So, let's say, here, New, you want to be my readback?
Sure.
Alright. Fire mission.
Fire mission.
Battery adjust number 3, 1 round.
Battery adjust number 3, 1 round.
Shell HE.
Shell HE.
Charge 3.
Charge 3.
Fuse PD.
Fuse PD.
Gun number 3, deflection 3214.
Gun number 3, deflection 3214.
Gun number 3, quadrant 430.
Gun number 3, quadrant 4310. Wait, 4. Did you 430?
Gun number 3, quadrant 430.
Gun number 3, quadrant 430.
Alright, here's a good example. If you either don't receive the fire command, you don't record it right, or you don't understand it, always call back to the FTC to get the correct data. Never assume on anything. So like I said, these numbers, can mean, hitting friendlies or not hitting the enemy in real life. So it's pretty simple. If you
So
need
just
something,
basically say again, over.
or the easiest way to do it is just say what you need and your gun number. So say you missed the quadrant, just be like, hey, quadrant on 3, and the FTC will be like, gun number 3, quadrant. Or if you miss the special instructions, say special instructions on 3. Alright, so now New has received the mission. There's no special instructions, so he is clear to fire whenever his gun is ready. So he shoots the round, and then he's going to call back shot 3. And then the FGC will confirm it by saying 3 shot. And obviously once they shoot, they'll let the FOs know, hey, we got a round incoming, and they'll stand by for their adjustments. So we're adjusting, the FTC's doing all their data, the FOs adjusted the round, and we don't have to actually, if we need to adjust, we don't have to repeat the entire fire command. We just need to repeat what has changed and repeat the quadrant again. So let's say, we make our adjustments, it would come down as gun number 3, quadrant 3217. Or, excuse me, gun number 3, deflection 3217. And then you would go ahead and repeat that.
Gun number 3, quadrant 3217.
Gun number 3, deflection.
Or, yeah,
gun
deflection.
number 3, quadrant 431.
Gun number 3, quadrant 431.
Now, nothing has changed. Special instructions haven't changed, so he's received quadrant. That means he can load and fire. So, boom, he fires his round, shot 3, 3 shot. The FO makes his adjustments. The round lands exactly where he wants it to. The FO calls fire for effect. So, how that would come down typically is you'd hear correction method of fire, battery 3 rounds. So, New, being my readback, will still repeat it.
Oh, battery correction of fire, 3 rounds.
Battery quadrant 431.
Battery quadrant 431.
Now, as the gun line, if you're in an adjust mission, you've got to record all that data that was sent down before, because you're adjusting, so most likely you're going to fire at some point. But this cuts down, as you can see, this cuts down the time. All I really need to send is 2 fire commands down to them, and now we've got the entire battery in the mission. And like I said, there's no special instructions, so once the battery's ready, they're clear to fire.
Yeah, so when you're getting the fire instructions, even if you're not the gun adjusting, make sure you're writing down everything that comes through, because that might be the final data.
If the FTC, if they, say they're, just have 2 guns in the mission, and for whatever reason they want to change, and bring the entire battery in the mission, but they haven't actually said adjust, typically they'll understand that and they'll send down the entire fire command, because they understand, hey, if the gun line wasn't adjusting, they weren't recording this mission, so.
Yep.
Now let's say, alright, we fired all our, the battery's fired, your gun's fired all its rounds, 3-round mission. You don't need to call shot on each round unless you're doing by round in my command, so you fire your 3 rounds. Then the way you let the FTC know that, you just say, hey, rounds complete on 3. So he'll call that, I'll say 3 rounds complete, I'll wait for the rest of the battery to call rounds complete, then call back, battery rounds complete. Now once the FO is satisfied that, hey, the target's destroyed, or, you know, whatever the effect is, desired effect is done on the target, he'll end the mission, and likewise on the gun line he'll say, end of mission, and that lets you know that, hey, the mission's over, and if the FTC is going to send out any more data, it has to come as a new fire command. Alright, so you guys have any questions? I know it's a lot of information.
That includes repeats, correct? If the FO calls for repeat, it'd come down as a new fire mission to the gun line.
I'm not sure, honestly. I'm pretty sure, though. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
because
can explain that.
I know on SOP, end of mission, you'll reset your gun, so...
Yeah.
So usually I would imagine that comes down as a new fire mission.
Yeah, I mean, if they call repeat, like in the same mission, then likewise, the way that would come down the gun line is early, I would send down as a quadrant. So, like, you know, say you just fired 3 rounds, I haven't called end of mission, I call back, you know, gun line quadrant, or I call battery quadrant 431. That means, hey, just repeat the last mission. You don't need any, you know, subsequent fire commands from that.
I don't think you can technically use repeat after the end of mission is issued. You can just recall the target when you record it as target from the FO side.
Yeah, when the FO calls end of mission, that actually it tells the FTC, okay, you can go ahead and delete my data. If he then needs the same mission again, basically he really has to send it all again, or pray for you guys to have it all written down anyway.
Yeah, in US, the FTC will, in the MTO, they'll give a target ID, and usually that's stored within their system. So if you wrote down that target ID, you can recall the target ID and just say, like, you could just do a shift off that target ID.
Yeah, but you don't say technically repeat. So I think so. It's
correct.
Only,
correct. Yeah, it'd be a new mission at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick note. Like I was saying, the gun numbers. We're talking about the number of the gun. It's always if you're staying behind the battery, it's from right to left. So the rightmost gun is number 1, number 2, etc. So obviously, always remember your gun number because you don't want to shoot out of turn.
It's kind of important when we do final protective fire, right? And also, yeah.
Alright, well, so does anybody have any questions at this time about fire commands?
Watch out, I'm all tapping back in. I think I didn't safety my weapon. Retarded as I am.
Well, it's lowered, so... Alright, so if you guys want to go ahead, break up into 3-man sections. If we have extras, we can stack 4. But ideally, I'd like to get all 6 guns. So get 3 per gun.
The last gun
have
is,
1 gunner,
bar.
1 ammo man, and the other guy on ammo, go ahead and stay on your short range. You're going to be the readbacks for your gun.
What do you mean it's full bar?
One of the guys picked up the collimator and messed it up, and then like you couldn't interact with it again.
Well, we can use the aiming post.
Yeah.
Which gun is that?
I'll be back in a minute.
Well, I mean, I don't think...
I learned so much. I learned so much that I no longer know what I learned.
Okay.
I think my brain is starting to melt. I need some time to digest this information.
Correct.
No, yeah, if that 6 gun is fucked up, just...
Yeah, I can reset it.
Yeah, I'll go down and reset it.
Alright, if you guys are instructor, just go ahead, like, spread out. I mean, we got like 3 instructors, so just take 2 guns each.
Hey guys.
And for these first couple missions, make sure when they enter the data, just take a look at the data before you actually shoot, make sure it's right, and explain to them if it's wrong, what's wrong about it.
I prefer to actually type down the information. It's odd.
Alright, have 1 person from your section be your kind of recorder / readback, and go ahead and have them roger up on the radio. Whenever you guys are ready, just say, you know, number 1, or say ready on 1.
Which of you is going to
Go
read back?
full. And you guys are gun 5, just to make sure.
Okay, we're 4. Gun number 4.
Okay.
Gun 2, ready. Remember, action piece, so say your action first, so ready 2. Ready 5. 5 ready. Ready 2. Ready 3. 3 ready.
Ready 4. So I'll do
4 ready.
the radio then.
So if you guys ended up being recorded.
Bertrand.
I was AFK to take a piss, but...
Bertrand is recording.
Someone help me up again.
Alright, gun 1, are you ready? Negative, we're just resetting the gun. Roger, alright, gun number 3, you're gonna be my read back, so any battery missions or stuff like that, so if it's full battery, you and only you are gonna be reading back to me the fire commands. Copy? 3, copy. Likewise, if it's just your gun in the mission, so like say it's just, gun number 2 in the mission, then gun number 2's recorder will go ahead and take over that read back.
Yeah, we're going.
I'm trying to get the level. Do I press the up key to level it?
Up or down, depending on the level.
Yes. To decrease your height, you press the up arrow. To increase your height, you press the down arrow.
Okay.
Thing in the view, I can see it.
Okay, because the...
Just to shift as well.
You want to shift until you get it close, and then use the singular mode to get it into the fucking bullseye, so to speak.
Oh, that worked. Thank you very much.
Sorry guys, that was my retardation. I was fixing the gun. That was okay.
Recorder all these guys fucking gun.
I'm gonna fix the 6th gun then.
Are you sure you want only 3 to read back?
So which of you is going to read back?
I'll read back. I'll do all the fucking paperwork if you guys wanna work out how to. I'll get used to handling the gun.
Okay.
Okay.
But go ahead, like on your sections, repeat it so like, you know, to make sure the ammo team says it, out loud.
So at the moment you've got your gunner, and you'll have your ammo team and assistant. What's up?
So you might want to just let one of the noobs try to read back, since I've... Gun 1 ready. Roger, 1 ready.
One of you guys want to do it then?
I'm fine with trying.
Fire mission.
Fire mission.
Fire mission, yeah.
Fire mission.
Fire mission. Battery 1 round.
Battery 1 round.
Battery 1 round. Special instructions, do not load.
Do not load.
Yep. Do not load.
Don't load.
Shell HE.
Shell HE.
Shell HE. Charge 4.
Charge
4. Fuse quick. Fuse quick.
That means PT.
Battery deflection 3215.
Battery deflection
Deflection 3215.
Deflection 3215.
Battery quadrant 310.
Battery quadrant
310. Alright gentlemen, since this is a do not load mission, you will not call back ready because you only call back ready when your round is in the tube. On a do not load mission, you call back laid. So when your gun is laid on the proper data, remember using action piece. For example, you'll call back laid 1, laid 2, laid 3, etc.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden this is going to be fire.
Guys, what is ground?
In a do not load mission, you can go ahead and prep those rounds, but just make sure you do not load it into the Howitzer.
You said ground.
No.
And keep in mind, if you miss any part of the fire command, just go ahead and call it back to the FTC.
I don't see it. Oh.
Laid 5. 5 laid.
I think I just laid an article.
Okay, I'll take another one. I'll take another one.
What is the azimuth?
Doesn't matter. Just
doesn't matter.
Laid 3. 3 laid. Anything else?
Okay, I know. I put deflection 3215.
I'll just drop
the azimuth will be a result of your deflection, basically.
You want to have it as close as you can to the breach. So that's where you'll be loading. When you prep your rounds, you want to get them gathered nice and close around it, so you just quickly shift between them. to your load as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
So about here?
Yep. If you just drop it there, when you've got multiple rounds, you just create a stash. You'd ideally keep them, the ideal marking position is, you know, by the wheel.
Alright.
Waiting on gun 1, 2, and 3. Or excuse me, 1, 2, and 4.
Can you check it, see if it's right?
Yeah.
3215. You didn't set elevation.
Oh, we're late.
Yeah,
oh, that's what it was.
You set your elevation value, then you get your gun leveled.
1 lead.
Okay, how do I change
Remember,
elevation?
action piece. 1 lead. The EL.
Oh, that's what I was doing. Oh, okay, cool.
You set your elevation value, then you get your level done.
Okay, so what do you remember what the elevation was? 500, right?
3, 1.
Oh, ik verstond niet zo.
This is why you always have pen and paper, so you never have to ask.
Yeah. I could
Too late.
like, where the fuck's my pen and
Late.
paper?
Too late.
Alright, cool. 310.
Okay, are you load?
Waiting on forward.
Arsonist, you got all your stuff set?
I'm trying to level it.
Before you do that, let me just check that the gun is actually, or the sight is actually set, because then we can shift the gun into position.
Copy that.
Shouldn't need shifted for this.
Yeah. Okay. Now set the level and set and lay the gun.
Gun 2's elevation is going to be good.
In practice, you want to be doing this a lot longer.
Yeah, they said.
Okay, the level's set.
Okay. You're
Lead. 4. No, we're not late because we haven't pointed the gun. 4 late, battery late. Alright, instructors, go ahead and verify the sights of all the guns. That the deflection of 3215 and the coordinate of 310 is correct. Hey, Pi, just confirm late means the gun is pointed at up with the collimator, right? Correct.
alright, never mind, my bad then. I assumed that's what you meant.
So in that case, ball's not ready. Roger.
I'm changing it to move at the collimator.
You should always do that before moving on to the elevation.
I didn't know that, sorry.
I have no idea.
You set the value, get the sight put on, then do your elevation, and get it leveled, and then call it.
No, I think it's good though. You want to check it?
That was my bad.
What were the settings
3215 deflection and quadrant 310.
Quadrant looks good, that's very easy. Your deflection looks perfect for us.
Alright, how do I bring it down to look at the collimator? It's not going down.
It should be...
OP plus and minus changes the elevation of the optical sight.
Thank you very much.
It's not... wait, is it
But
in line with
it's not important if you are aiming exactly at the collimator. The important part is that the horizontal numbers align. Doesn't matter if the vertical line is... Hey, Godhand, how's 4 gun?
Yeah, copy that. Alright, take a look.
I'm at 4 gun right now, looks pretty good. Are they late?
No, he's not a 4 gun.
Yep, he's late.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm at 3 gun, never mind.
You
Okay,
changed
Guardian.
oh wait, it's good. All good. 4 ready.
Ready.
Are you ready? Got round the 2?
No. You want to say?
No.
Who's the recorder here?
I'm just in restart. Remember, if you don't have a round the 2, call back late.
Who's the recorder here?
No, I'm not.
I've got the details copied, but I was hoping one of the guys who doesn't know what they're doing immediately would do it.
Okay. Well, whoever's...
Oh,
Darren,
somebody,
are you the recorder?
No,
Bertrand, are you the recorder?
somebody has been answering on the radio and it wasn't me.
One of you 3 guys said you were gonna be recording, so...
Yeah, Bertrand said...
need to speak up right now.
Bertrand said he would, but somebody else did it.
Then keep recording then.
Yeah, you're still
And
the
step
recorder.
up when people ask you.
So, Bertrand, your gun is laid, so read back on your radio, read back laid 5. or laid 4, sorry.
Yeah.
You're gun number 4.
Laid 4. Laid 4.
4 laid, battery laid.
So late.
Correction, special instructions at my command.
At command.
At your command.
What does that mean, guys?
Battery quadrant 310. Quadrant 310. Alright, you guys have received new special instruction. You've received quadrant, so you can now load and call back ready when you are loaded.
Alright, load this bad boy. Loaded.
Do you chaps happen to understand what at my
You said
command
at his
means?
command, right?
Yeah.
Gun loaded.
Do each gun call back when loaded? Yes, each gun will call back ready, just the same as they call back laid.
Loaded 4.
Loaded 3. When you loaded, just call back ready. So, ready 4, ready 1, etc.
Ready 4.
4 ready. Ready 3. 3 ready. 1 ready. 1 ready. Ready 5.
In the Danish
5 ready.
Report ready before 1 report ready anyway.
Kaboom, motherfucker. I'm so like
Waiting on 2.
The A3 that you guys use, that isn't automatic loading system, is it?
No.
Ready,
yeah,
sir.
We have the
2 ready, battery ready.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
Battery stand by. Fire.
Fire.
Shot 2. 2 shot.
Did you fire?
Shot 3. 3 shot.
Shot 4. Shot 4. Oh, God damn it.
1 shot.
Mouse click to fire, right?
5 shot.
You ignore 3 people saying fire.
Yeah, I'm trying to fire.
Battery shot.
You are trying to fire.
Yeah.
That involves
actually 4 did you shoot?
I'm doing that.
You exit the sight mode and then do it.
Yeah, I did that twice.
You exit the dialogue.
Oh, it's because I had right click. My bad.
Oh.
Okay.
Battery shot.
Shot 4.
Shot 4.
Swear that to God.
Alright, congratulations, gentlemen. You completed your first fire mission.
Yay! Yay!
Was my target on round? Round on target.
No one's out there looking at it, so...
Okay, we're gonna do a little...
Oh, for sure, I swear to God.
3 guys, a little fucking curveball here. Battery end of mission.
Battery end of mission.
Battery end of mission. Fire mission.
Fire mission.
Fire mission. I'll be loaded.
Battery 1 round.
Battery 1 round.
Battery 1 round.
Sarah, on you go.
Special instructions at my command.
Special instructions at command.
Shell HE.
Shell HE.
HE. Charge 4.
Charge 4.
Fuse delay.
Fuse delay.
Battery deflection 3500.
Battery deflection 3500.
3500. Battery quadrant 315. Quadrant 315.
Quadrant 315. What did you say, Toadball? What did you say, Toadball?
Stand by the shift.
Keep in mind, you guys will only call back ready when your gun is laid on proper deflection and you have a round in the tube.
When the
you do not need to call back laid on this mission because
You don't load
guns
until
at my command, so you only need to call back when you are ready.
No, you don't load until the quadrant is set.
Oh, that's bad. Well, this is going to take a while.
Shift tube right.
The round in it has gone missing, so...
It'll be towards the front somewhere.
Ready on 1.
Come on, I need
1 ready.
to shift in this tube.
Shifting right.
How far?
Alright, halting.
Tell me when to load.
Set the corner right to.
Yeah, 315. That's just me done the deflection.
Should I load it now? Or?
Do not load.
Ready, 3.
Okay.
Ready.
Ready.
Loaded.
Get it loaded?
Load, yep.
Okay.
Alright.
Call it, Bertrand.
4 ready.
Bertrand?
Ready, 4.
Ready 4.
Firing.
Send it again in case you didn't hear it.
Ready 4. I can't seem to let go of the gun.
Try ducking
Press C.
or crawling.
Press C. When you're shifting a
Yeah.
gun, you press C to get out of it.
Yeah,
So
thanks.
when you've got a 3-man crew, you'll have one guy assisting and one guy doing the ammo bearer. The gunner, if you're doing a 3-man thing, will typically record the mission. If we've got 4 guys, you'll have one guy assisting, one guy recording, and one guy getting ammo ready.
Okay.
I don't even think we can fire.
So you're saying deflection is 3500, right?
So
It is affirmative 3500.
I'm tempted to call myself Gunner Jurgen now.
Can these howitzers be used as anti-tank?
Yeah.
Crazy.
you have to be fairly familiar with the type of fuses though.
In Fort Armadillo we used them as the point defense as well in case Taliban decided to try and break us down. We would put the guns up on fucking bastions and fire. Direct fire.
Wow.
When you read back, do you read back on the radio and in direct voice?
If you're the recorder and you have to read back.
That might be the curveball you talked about.
Recorder, you read back on the radio so you know I knows it. And then you, as you say it on the radio, you're still saying it out on direct, so the other guys know it as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If it's a battery one, it'll be the central gun that reads back, isn't it?
I assume so. No, in real life, with Danish guns, each gun gets separate data. So basically, the battery computer will send data to each gun, so they'll fire directly at the same target instead of here, well, the guns are essentially firing parallel towards the target.
Yeah.
None of them hit the same spot.
That's where you're lucky enough to have, guns with the automatic laying system.
Yeah.
Silly.
Fuck, Brits have that.
Yeah.
You know, the guys in Armadillo had that automatic laying system, and the only thing they had to do was load the gun.
Yeah. Just because you get all these videos of, the British guy, you've got the videos of the American air assault, artillery, which is, it takes like several hours. You've got the British one where, they'll fly in with their gun and their fucking pins, get it set up and fire in a couple of minutes.
Shouldn't take long to set one of these guns up, even if you don't have the automatic laying, because essentially all you have to do is fucking set up some stakes at 50 meters and 100 meters, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Go on, I see the shadow.
I remember when working with Mark, we had someone decided to dick around with a collimator and the aiming stakes. We ended up having to reset all the aiming stakes. That was an interesting one.
Other way.